Good evening, hello and welcome back to this I-24 News Evening Edition. I'm Lucy Arish and this is the Daily Debate. Every nation has immigration laws they enforce, yet in Israel, these laws are creating an uproar. Israel's parliament has passed a bill which will imprison illegal African immigrants for up to a year without trial. The new law passed late last night with 30 votes in favor and 15 against. Joining me tonight is Elizabeth Surkov, activist for the Hotline of Migrant Workers. Hello, thank you very much for coming to the studio. And Golan, chairman of the Hebrew City NGO. Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for coming to the studio. So, you know, it's I have to say that it's in the day of international human rights. To pass such a law in democratic Israel, it's, I don't know if to say a shame, but it's kind of weird situation.
It's definitely symbolic, and I think it shows the way Israel is seeing human rights as an issue that is divided between the left and right, and because right now the right is in control, human rights are being trampled, and this is not the case worldwide, where human rights are really an issue of consensus.
So human rights actually got to do with right and left?
I guess so. Unfortunately, I just want to say that, in my opinion, the only shameful thing that this law is coming only now and deals with only part of the big problem. And the only human rights that are being trampled so far is the human rights of the citizens of South Tel Aviv, Eilat, Ashkelon, Akko, Hadera, and many more cities. As someone who lives in and grew up and educated in South Tel Aviv, you know, hardcore South Tel Aviv, the central bus station, has been living there for years with a lot of communities from Nepal, from the Philippines, from Romania, from Nigeria, from a lot of places. I have never felt scared to walk down the street. I have never had to have a pepper spray in my bag, and I have never had to think if to buy my milk before or after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm just a small example, but the hundreds of old people, and I mean 89-year-old people, 95-year-old people that has been living there and has no way to escape that place, unfortunately living in a ghetto inside of their houses, scared to go out. There are hundreds of incidents of rapes. I just walked with a Filipino girl a week and a half ago to the police after she'd been raped by an infiltrator from Eritrea. When she was on her way to her boss, on the door he took her bag, raped her brutally, and broke her entire jaw without one teeth left in her mouth. I think that that's the real human rights that no one is talking about. That incident didn't reach any news, even though I approached a lot of channels, and this is what breaks my heart, to try and pass it off, as I call it, the big bluff of refugees over the fact that those are immigrant workers that came here to work. I understand the fact that people want to come and improve their social and economic status, but not on the bills of sufferment of hundreds and thousands of citizens in the city.
There is a point of what she's a few points in what Mai is saying. We're living in Tel Aviv and we hear about a lot of cases, and I don't know if it's the lack of responsibility that the government has, or it's the lack of responsibility to bring them and just put them in South Tel Aviv and put them in small places and not educate them and not make them actually obey the law, the Israeli law that is in Israel. Or is it, you know, some people may say that it's their nature, and this we hear also in Israel, unfortunately. So who is the one to blame? Who are we blaming here?
I totally agree with Mai, and her descriptions are completely correct. The situation in southern Tel Aviv and in cities like Eilat and Arad are catastrophic. People are really suffering. Their suffering is completely legitimate. A huge population was dropped on their doorstep, and because those are the cheapest places to live, and because those are the places where it's easier to find employment, refugees have concentrated there. And because they don't have any support from the government, unlike other countries where people enter the country, even if they enter it illegally, their status is examined. you see whether they are migrant workers and then they are deported, illegal migrant workers, or if they're refugees, they're granted certain rights that allow them to live in dignity and not concentrate in the area that is suffering so greatly. And you see that in terms of the infrastructure. In that area, the infrastructure is in an abysmal state. It was that way before the refugees arrived, and since then the situation has worsened considerably. The problem is the government. The government doesn't have a policy. The only policy it has is either to let refugees into the streets and do nothing with them and not examine their individual claims, or lock them up. And none of them are a solution to the problem of the residents of southern Tel Aviv.
I have to comment about what she's saying. There's no doubt that Central and South Tel Aviv in general was a place that didn't have, you know, a luxury life. But from that to the place that it got today, there is a huge gap. There's no way comparing the fact of what you used to have, which was a simple life, true, not the best quality of streets, not clean, not, you know, not luxurious, as I said. But from here, to feel the danger, to feel scared, to feel anger towards, and I do agree with her that the government should have taken responsibility, but you can't take responsibility. And you talked about culture, Lucy, and I must tell you that I've been examining Eritrea, for instance, for her culture, and a place that raping a woman by law is okay, by law, raping a woman by a cop, by a friend, by a husband, you know, this is the culture that they come here from, and you know, you can't expect them to be upset with them that they're raping women here. And I should too agree that who's ever a refugee should get a place here, but you should examine it. And now, after 6 years that they've been here, there's no way that one of them wouldn't say that he escaped some sort of a thing because they want to work here. A monthly, the minimum wage here for a month is a 2-year in Eritrea. So I just really think you should put the truth on the table and show that it's an economic-based only thing and not more.
So it's an economic-based only thing, and of course we understand that they're coming from Eritrea. They're coming from these very horrible places to find better lives in Israel. But let's face it, and let's say the truth as it is. Israel has the right to stop the immigration. Israel has a right to say, I don't have enough space. I'm just throwing it in the air. I don't have enough space. I have my own issues, my own internal issues. I can't deal right now with more immigration coming in, with people who are coming from a different culture who I need to re-educate all over again.
Israel definitely has the right to control who enters the country. Israel erected a fence. No one is coming in. In the past year, only 40 refugees entered Israel. All of them were immediately locked up in a detention facility that is unlike any other in the Western world, where people are locked. Where people are locked up. It's a mandatory jailing. The previous law
in the biggest democracy in the world, the United States of America, you have the same refugee camp where they stay. They have, and they even have poor places to live in. Here in Israel, they're supposed to have education. They're supposed to have food. They're supposed to have moral support. Everything they want. I think it's better than where they live in a central bus station right now, better than prison. It's not a prison. They can go anywhere they want. They can work, and they need to come back, to a place where they don't stay in a place where they choke other people's life who has the right to live here because they were born here and this is their country. I can go now to the United States of America and demand a place. I'm a refugee now. Do you know that? I'm in my area now, the way that I'm living, that my 67-year-old mother is living now, can file for a refugee status all over the world. Because you know how we live? We live in a building that we can't even go up because it's so scary. There is apartments all over that were divided in 3 and to 4, and they have tens and hundreds of infiltrators there doing whatever they want, yelling, breaking bottles of beer at each other, smoking, and you can't even open the door to say something because it's a real danger.
I'm asking, where is the country? Where is the government?
You're
where is the police forces? Where is...
First of all, the police forces, I must say, have brought more forces lately because the situation really became unbearable and very dangerous. But I think that bringing now police is like putting some sort of a band-aid on a knee that needs surgery. You know, it's just a temporary time to make us quiet. The biggest scandal of Israel is to remember now, after 6 years of sufferment, and the citizens have been yelling and shouting shouting for someone to hear them, and they've just been ignoring us. The media has just been ignoring us. Sometimes I say thank you, thank God for Facebook, for allowing us to put our truth out there. You know, they've been ignoring us. They woke up now very late, and now they're trying to figure out what to do in ways that are, you know, sounds maybe delusional to others, but this is the only way that the country, I guess, knows how to handle it. And one last sentence to say about the court here, that basically is totally detached from the life of the real civilians in Israel and makes decision. I and the rest of the people in Israel didn't choose the court. I chose, I mean, the ministers and the government to represent me. And there's no way that the government will pass a law and the court will just come and cancel it.
Do you see how passionate she's talking? Do you understand her? I know. Do you understand her pain? Do you understand to live in such conditions at your home, at your area?
Definitely.
It's very, very hard.
It is. But the problem is that the new law doesn't solve it. The new law will jail 2,000 refugees from areas where she lives. It will take people out of there in areas where I live as well.
This is the area that I used to live. Do you understand that? This used to be my home. People came and took over my home. I do not agree that you say I will take people from the houses. They have houses in Eritrea. They have families. They send the money over there to build more land and more houses. This used to be my home when I used to walk down the street, and now I can't.
I totally understand it. The government is offering a band-aid with this law. The law is not a solution. It will not improve the conditions in southern Tel Aviv significantly. You have about
it's definitely a start.
You have 40,000 people there, and
I have 100,000 people there.
Let me disagree. It will take 2,000 out.
It's not even taking 2,000.
The solution is to examine the status of each person and determine whether
now, after 6 years that they've been mandatory by people what to say and what to do.
There are ways that are done everywhere else in the world.
When they just arrive. Not now, after you've told them what to say.
We haven't told them what to say.
I have very good examples for that.
People fleeing from Eritrea are recognized worldwide as refugees. Over 90% of asylum seekers.
We have an ambassador sitting in our government. You know that hundreds already went back to Eritrea and nothing bad happened. Even today, lie. It's a lie. This is the big lie. Even today, 50 Eritreans went back and nothing happened to them. And we have the ambassador of Eritrea that even he says that all the left organizations can say that you lie. You have your own personal agenda to make them stay here. So it won't be a Jewish country. So it won't be called Israel country anymore. Your own personal agenda. You did the same with the Philippines when they came here, but now that they're getting raped over and over, no one is fighting for them. You know what's upsetting me?
These are conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this is the truth.
What's
upsetting me, and this is why I'm talking out of anger, and I can't really, talk as calm as her, is that people that have no reality, no even 1 minute of living of my situation, come and, to feel better about themselves, just pass a judgment on the people who does live the real reality. So I invite all of them to come and live not even 1 month, 1 day in my building, and to see if they'll talk the same.
Let her just give a last statement.
I think it's really important to remember that the people who are coming here are recognized worldwide as refugees. They're coming from a country where there is mandatory military service.
All over the world there is mandatory. In Iran there is a mandatory. Maybe we should accept Iran people in Syria as well.
It is endless.
The entire Africa is dictatorship.
I just need to let her finish because we need to finish this.
It is endless military service. People are coming here because their lives are in danger. And this is why Israel doesn't deport people there. Israel deports people who come from Nigeria, from Ghana, from China. They arrive through the border with Egypt and they're constantly deported. There's no problem about it. They don't face any danger. Those people who are here
disagrees with you.
He represents the regime.
No, this is their country.
The ambassador.
Why are the Philippines not claiming they're refugees? They also have a dictatorship. Why aren't they saying we're refugees?
There's no dictatorship in the Philippines.
I have news for you.
There's no mandatory military service there. There's no torture
excuse me, there's also mandatory service in the army here.
Ladies, first of all, thank you very much for this. We will continue the discussion outside, and we're going out for a small break, 10 minutes break, and then we will be back for the I-24 News one-on-one conversation with Professor Ellen Dershowitz. Don't go anywhere. 10 minutes break and we'll be back.